And just like that, the next episode has begun. Welcome back to Ace Attorney, Trials and Tribulations. I'm your host, MegaShadowFist, second video, second commentary. We last left off, we were presenting evidence to Larry Butts, the real murderer. No, I'm just joking. What if Larry actually was a real murderer? That'd be stupid. That really would be stupid. Anyway, let's go ahead and continue where we last left off. That the person who flew over that bridge could not have been the defendant Iris. What? What do you mean? I don't understand! Ah! A foolhardy folly of a foolish statement by an equally foolish, foolhardy fool! How exactly can you make this claim? Tell us, Larry. According to this picture, the individual whom you say you saw was wearing a hood, correct? What? I almost went. Of course she was! That rundown shack is quite away from the bridge! The hood is what you told me that this floating angel was my Iris! That. The hood is my darling Iris, and Iris is my darling hood! Ah! Excuse me? It seems there are bigger fools in the world than the one at the fence's bear. Larry, there's something you need to be made aware of. On the night of the murder, Iris wasn't wearing her hood. She had given it to Wright as a gift. Are you going to change your story now? Perhaps suggest it was Wright who took flight? What are you talking about? I think you understand what I mean just fine. Why? Why did Nick have Iris's hood? Eh? Edgy, what's going on with Iris and Nick? Why you... Nick, you dog! I do believe that this unbelievably mysterious sketch is destined to disappear, discredited and discarded straight onto the garbage. Ha! What does it now, Fitness? It feels like I've been waiting 25 years for this very day to come. Edgy! Today's the day I get to completely stupefy you! What? What is the meaning of your outburst, Witness? I hate to have to do this, but I have some definitive evidence. Definitive evidence? Iris did indeed come flying over the burning bridge, and I, Larrias Dodim, shall prove it! I didn't expect to ask this again, but we shall be needing your testimony once again. Tell us anything you know concerning the defendant as depicted in the sketch, and show us your evidence that this nightmare is actually a reality. Okay, I hope you're ready, Edgy, because I'm gonna feed you a whooping serving of pain! You've been serving as a whooping serving of pain this whole time, trust me. Proof that Iris flew. When I reached Dusky Bridge, she was already gone! I was so worried, so I frantically searched all over for her! That led to me finding a beautiful crystal spear, half buried in the snow! Oh, that's easy. I'm sure that Iris was simply wearing a spare hood! After all, no one else could have lost a crystal spear that night! Oh, that's too easy! Crystal spear? This one! Pretty, isn't it? But finders keepers! That spear! Where did you find it? Let me see, around here somewhere? Looks about right! Oh, I think I have an idea of what happened here. What if actually, so that's supposed to spot where the snowmobile was. What if actually it was Elise Donim who used the snowmobile? She was over there somewhere. She dropped the thingy that fell from her staff, went all the way to Hazakura Temple, and now that is interesting. And it was half buried in the snow. It had pretty much stopped snowing by then, but there was still some falling as I walked to the bridge. The court accepts this crystal spear. That's mine, okay? I want it back afterward. There's something on it, isn't there? Oh my, it's a bloodstain. What? A bloodstain? The crystal spear added to the court record. You read it? Ew. Like I just got... Yeah. Yuck. Anyway, are you ready, Edgy? By tomorrow morning, you'll be calling me Master Larry. Yeah, I like the sound of that. No one's gonna push me around anymore. Didn't you want to be called Larrias Donim only a few minutes ago? Proof that Iris flew. Alright, well, I already know what we need to present, but we're gonna press everything anyway, just because that's just what I do on this channel. Which is kind of why these series have been going on for quite some time. Continue. From save point. When I reached Dusky Bridge, she was already gone! So, you went to the burning bridge? That's right, to meet Iris! She actually flew to get to me! The least I could do was meet her halfway! But, the defendant was not at the bridge when you got there, you say? I guess she went back to Hazakura Temple! She's a girl after all, she must have wanted to look her best! It must be lovely to live in a fantasy land of Larry's mind. Actually, it's so depressing I can't even work up the energy to point. So, what did you do next? I was so worried, so I frantically searched all over for her! So you searched all over for her? She was flying pretty high, you know. I thought maybe she slipped in her landing and got hurt. Hey, it was more than possible. Also, when I headed out to the shack the first time, I was snacking on a banana. I was pretty sure I threw the pill away somewhere around there, so, you know. Can one guy really be this... Can one guy really be this stupid? So, did you find any signs of her so-called landing? I don't really remember. I kept up falling over myself and kinda lost it for a while there. You fell over yourself? Yeah, the snow was deep and there was even a banana peel out there. Yep, there's stupid and then there's Larry stupid. The short of it is that you didn't find any signs of her landing, correct? Then what happened next? That led to me finding a beautiful crystal spear half buried in the snow. Half buried. It was sitting in the snow with a little gathered on top. It was very hard to spot, actually. I mean, it was dark out too. I'm impressed. You did well to find it. No matter what you may think when you look at me, I'm a pro, a genius security guard that got fired. Or did he get fired? I'm not quite. I used a pin light I borrowed from my company to help in my search. And it sparkled really brightly as if it was saying, "Here I am" to me. It does indeed look very much like the crystal spear on Iris's hood. But need I remind you that she was not wearing her hood at that night? I'm sure that Iris is simply wearing a spare hood! Bikini said that each nun is assigned their own hood, and they are assigned only one. I don't know anything about that, okay? And Iris is special, alright, dude? Even if she did steal a spare hood, I'll forgive her! This is getting us nowhere. Our destination for the day, it seems. However, this crystal spear was found near the bridge. That is a fact. If it didn't come from a hood, where could it have come from? That is the question I aim to answer. After all, no one else could have lost a crystal spear that night. I mean, he's not really lying, he's just stupid. We're just ignorant. Ignorance and stupidity are not quite the same thing. Let me confirm this one last time, Larry. The reason you thought that this was Iris are the hood and this crystal spear, correct? That's right, my gut is never wrong! I met that old bikini the next morning, and her crystal spear was still there, safe and sound! Indeed. She was wearing it in this very room earlier today. This case isn't going to end without a fight. Exposing the obvious contradictions in this testimony will be easy, but I fear that all that awaits us are further mysteries. Just because, like, I feel like they're gonna make us present, like, double evidence or something, so, like, we're gonna have to present the staff and then something else, so just in case, and we end up getting the second thing wrong, because our patience meter is so low, I don't want to have to, like, start all over again, so let's go ahead and, go from here. Well, we wouldn't really have to, like, start all over again, would we? I mean, like, the only reason this would be beneficial is that we'd be able to skip through stuff if we wanted to press through it all over again, and we wouldn't have to do that because we already know what we need to present evidence for. After all, no one else could have lost a crystal spear that night. Victim staff. Larry. That night, there was someone who lost a crystal spear. There was? Who? Who was the stupid idiot? Miss Elise Donim, the mentor to a stupid idiot. The victim? I have a photo of her here. And on the end of her staff, you can see a familiar-looking crystal spear. Hey! That's my photograph! Give it back! Ouch! A crystal spear like that is quite easy to find. I have one just like it on my brooch. They look nothing alike. In any case, please take a look at this. This is the victim's staff found at the scene of the crime. Ah! The crystal spear! It's gone! Oh... What? Just what does this mean? If anyone jumped or flew across the bridge that night, it certainly was not Iris. After all, she was not wearing her hood. More importantly, the crystal spear found at the landing site was not hers either. That means the one who flew and dropped the spear was the victim, Miss Elise Donim? A fool alongside another fool on a fool's errand to reach a foolish conclusion. First of all, this sketch, which I prefer to call a scribble, is ridiculous. People cannot fly, thus it is rejected. You can't do that, I saw it with my own 2 eyes! And this crystal spear, this is nothing more than a red herring. You honestly believe that? Give it some thought, and I'm sure you'll realize it as well, Miles Edgeworth. Elise Donim was in her room on the night of the murder. There was no reason for her to go to the skip bridge. Therefore, this spear cannot be related to this case. That is all. Miss Franziska von Karma, the only people who will accept that explanation are scatterbrains and clowns. Why are you pointing at me? The victim's crystal spear was found near the bridge on the night of her murder. I feel like they're gonna make us present evidence. We gotta be careful. You can never be too careful. And I keep saying this, but you know, I have to remind you guys, because even though I say it, sometimes you guys forget. You cannot say, well, the court record is open, so that's why you have to sort of second guess sometimes. Yet you expect us to believe that this has nothing to do with the case? That crystal spear, it was probably thrown away at the bridge after the murder. After the murder? There is blood in the crystal spear, isn't there? This naturally suggests that it was thrown away after the murder took place. The killer placed it there to throw the investigation off the scent. The same reason that he drew that ridiculous sketch. What? You mean I'm the killer? And no way! Enough joking! Just when did this crystal spear appear next to the foot of the bridge? Unless this can be proven in some way, I refuse to believe this is related to the case. She makes a valid point. They're probably going to make us present evidence of some sort. Either that or they're going to be like, okay, well, clearly we don't have the evidence, so let's go ahead and go back to doing investigations. Which is always a possibility. From save point. She makes a valid point. There is no evidence that Elise Donim left Hazakura Temple that night. However, if somehow this crystal spear can be proven to have been dropped before the victim was killed, then this case is going to transform into something else entirely. Your response, Mr. Edgeworth. I want your final opinion on the disposition of this crystal spear. If it is not related to the case, then this witness who you called will have been nothing more than a monumental waste of time. Prepare yourself for some very appropriate punishment, Miles Edgeworth. They're gonna make us present evidence. They're gonna make us present evidence. They're gonna make us present evidence. They're going to make us present evidence. Okay, continue. From save point. Can I prove it? Can I prove that the crystal spear was dropped before the murder took place? What happens if we say no, it is impossible? No matter how I look at it, it's not possible. It is certainly strange that the crystal spear is found near the bridge, but perhaps it is just a curveball from the killer. Well, Miles Edgeworth seems to have nothing further to say. Then I am left with no choice. The court sees no reason. What is this? Hey, Edgy, you're a defense attorney, aren't you? If it was Nick standing where you are right now. If it was Nick, do you think he'd give up? No, he'd find the truth no matter what it took, no matter how crazy it seemed. Right. At this moment, I'm standing where you should be, which means there's only one thing to do. Think like you. Your Honor, allow me to prove something to you. I will prove that this crystal spear is a vital link to solving this case. You will do what? That look in your eyes! Well, the thing is, I didn't choose, like, we can't prove it simply out of curiosity's sake. I did it because, like, I don't know, like, I thought maybe this is, because the thing is, like, if you say you can't prove it, you're either right or wrong. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But if you say that you can prove it, you're stuck presenting a bunch of different evidence without even really knowing if you're right or wrong or not. So it's like, I don't know. That look in your eyes! You remind me of Phoenix Wright when he is cornered! That should come as no surprise, because right now I am Phoenix Wright, and I am indeed cornered. I order you to present your evidence, Mr. Edgeworth! Now we shall save! Now is appropriate time to save. Perhaps. From save point. I order you to present your evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. Evidence that proves that the crystal spear was indeed dropped before the murder. Okay. Now how exactly can we prove this? Oh, what about the crime photo itself? Because the crime photo itself, her staff isn't there. Dang it, I thought I was onto something! Crystal spear. Near Dusky Bridge has blood on it. I thought I was onto something. Let's look at everything. Received from Wright. Has her fingerprints on it. The parent murder weapon has the victim's blood in this. It has her fingerprints on it, but no one else's. Can we present this? I'm gonna try. This might be wrong though. Your response, Miss Von Karma? Birds of a feather flock together. Are you familiar with this phrase? Miles Edgeworth? I think one such bird is calling for its fellow now. Go, Edgy, do it, prove it, win! His cheering. It's as though I'm listening to the ominous cause of ravens. Alright, we got that completely wrong. Oh well, that's enough. The court sees no reason to further prolong the trial, nor is there any reason for time to blah 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 blah. Shut up. Shut up, Judge! You think you're cool? Well, you're not, Judge. Just because you have a play-up beard, just because he's guilty, you know what? I want my lawyer. I want to call my lawyer right. Oh, that's right, I am a lawyer. I'll call another lawyer anyway. Because I can. Because I'm Miles Edgeworth Investigations. Yes, I know that's... Evidence that proves that the crystal spear was indeed dropped before the murder. Well, I mean, they could have just easily, like, wiped their fingerprints off, but I don't know. Everything individually. The victim's blood and the suspect's fingerprints on it. Check button for details. Protects from evil spirits. Maybe she dropped it. Shows the look at the pimple, surrounding area. Was indeed dropped before the murder. Would that prove anything, though? I was like, oh, the fire and the occult magazine. Taken by your only pupil. Rang lights out bell at 10 p.m. and was then in her room until the murder was discovered. Caused loss of blood from stabbing back. Body fell 10 feet after death. Let me check this again. Are you sure? Are you sure? Like, this staff isn't... No, the staff is nowhere to be found. So... Oops. About to do my microphone... or pop filter. Track photo... Could we do that? Like, the tracks are only going one way? I mean... Horrible sketch. Has blood. It's worth a shot. I'm not quite sure if this is right, but... No, it's not right. Yeah, I figured as much. Birds of a feather flock together, or so they say. Are you familiar with this phrase? Miles Edgeworth? I think one such bird is calling for its fellow. Go, Edgy, do it, prove it, win. Yeah, shut up. His cheering, it's like as though blah, blah, blah. Alright, that's enough. This court sees no reason to further prolong this trial, blah, blah, blah. Well, we're gonna have to end this off on a cliffhanger, I suppose. Another cliffhanger, because I have no idea. No idea what to present. I mean, we could just try to present everything and call it a day, I suppose. Adjourned. Alrighty then. Continue. From save point. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next episode.